Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Meet my friend, Judy James. Hello. The reason that she's here is because we're talking about how long does it take to become friends with someone. Researchers in the United States say it takes 90 hours.
90 hours? We've got 89 and a bit to go.
Doesn't mean that. 90 hours well spent, though, talking and messing about, working alongside someone doesn't really count. As you can see, Judy is here. So how do you make friends and how do they come up with 90 hours?
I don't know how they came up with the 90 hours. I don't think it applies to modern life. I think some of our most profound friendships take almost that in years, because some of the strongest friendships are what I call proximity friendships, which are people, the kid at the next desk when you're at school, people that you live next door to, and as you're growing up, they know you, they know exactly what you're like, they know all your life experiences. It's a kind of quasi-sibling thing. And they're the ones that you cannot see for years, but they're probably not going to go away. Then you've got the virtual ones, and that would be people that you probably tell everything to, like your hairdresser, although it's not an actual friendship, or that could be social people online, social media and things like that.
But people mistake that for friendship.
They absolutely do. But what they're not understanding, that's a bit like talking into a mirror, because you're saying what you want to say, but you haven't got the kind of two-way perspective. So it's a lot less judgmental, and you haven't got to use so much empathy on the other person. That's quite an egotistical way of having friends. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the sort that are built on attribution bias, which are people, often people that we work with, people in an open plan office, that you've got to get to know quite quickly. And you base those friendships more on the things that you perceive as being similar. And sometimes you don't quite pick up on the things that you haven't really got in common at all. And usually when you start working together, you get all the sort of, we'll be friends for life. And
how often does that actually happen?
What, that you stay friends for life? No, very rarely.
Yeah.
And have you ever seen the people that bring their babies back and things like that? You know, and they're sitting on reception with the baby and everybody's like, yeah, whoa, you know, who are you? That umbilical cord, not the real one, but the one of friendship, that breaks really quickly when you lose all of that kind of lifestyle in common.
OK, these have suddenly arrived behind us. OK, let's talk about world leaders and whether they can be friends or whether that is just faux friendship.
I think, and you know this as well, with a lot of the politicians, the strongest genuine friendships come from people that often you wouldn't expect it, because they're huge rivals. You know, you get it in Parliament, don't you? You know, they come out, they've been beating one another up verbally, and actually they're really good friends. This was described as a really strong bromance.
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. Have a look at this. Here we go. Here we go. Look, we've got a little bit of music to go with it as well. Look, they seem very... Talk me through it.
It's almost romantic. I mean, you know, that compared to the handhold with Theresa May, this was... and this is so intimate and rude as well.
Oh.
Not only did he go up and dust it off, I mean, he could have said, I'm sorry, I think I spat my breakfast on your shoulder, which you do so that your friend wouldn't lose respect. No, he actually said it's dandruff, which makes it a very dodgy... This, to me, was not a bromance. It wasn't a friendship. It was like something out of The Lion King. I thought, any minute now, Trump's going to pick him up and hold him up like, this is my new son. It was a lot more paternal. But, and you know this as well, when you look at the real signals, this kind of stuff, this is power patting. This is Macron letting the world know that I'm not his poodle. I'm actually the dominant new alpha male on the block. So there's still a lot of battling going on, and friendships like this, these kind of over-displayed friendships, look at all the power patting. I'm in charge.
Holding hands.
He grabs his hand, they walked away. All of that stuff and this stuff.
See, that really annoyed me. I didn't think that would, when he did the dandruff thing. He was just being powerful over him, wasn't he? Is what you?
Well, he was,
and rude.
I did read in somebody said, "Oh no, in animal terms," and I would agree with this. In animal terms, that would be a grooming gesture that should show that Macron's now the alpha, and Trump saying, "No, you're." But that's absolutely not Trump. I mean, Trump did it to diminish. In a kind of quasi-paternal way, and that's a good way to do it, because you still look like a nice person. Even with this tight, really machismo hand clasp, you notice that Trump pats the hand, and then you get this complete pat fight going on.
Yeah, and you're going out ahead of me because I'm the boss. It's the one who goes in last, isn't it? That is
And when they look at the cameras as well, it's like, yeah, you know.
Check me out, yeah. 90 hours. It can be a firm friendship quicker than that.
Oh, it can. And, you know, how quickly can it take to fall in love? Sometimes it's love at first sight.
Is that true?
Absolutely. Maybe not based on reality, but then a lot of relationships aren't. But there will be a lot of very subtle... I mean, the thing with body language, we're picking up on millions of signals without realising how we're doing it. And a lot of them can be quite valid. So we're picking up on a lot of clues and cues and things like that. With friendships, though, I don't think we're that tuned in is the problem. We're not actively reading the other person quite so much. But you can certainly make quite quick friends that can last for a very long time. I think... if they're made too quickly, they get broken really quickly, probably like these two. But I think otherwise, they're probably just as valid as some of the people that we grew up with, because we know that in the moment, this is somebody that maybe fits into my lifestyle, somebody that supplies, and I know it sounds egotistical, if you like humour, if you like fun, you know, you can kind of almost, they'll fit into that gap in my life. And we haven't got a lot of time to be friends, so that often works. What
are the key indicators as to whether it's a real or a faux friendship?
I think if you're not... you know, sometimes with people, they're over-talking the friendship. You know, you're my best friend and things like that. I can tell you anything and all of that sort of thing.
My mummy always used to say to me, if somebody says, will you be my best friend, run a million miles.
Well, that's right, because why would you... Let's grow into best friendships and let's get there and look back and think, oh, actually, yeah, you know, you're my best friend. But that could be somebody that you have met quite recently. If there's enough ways that you bond and get one another. It's to do with empathy as well. I think the real friendships, you feel that you can probably read the other person quite quickly and understand them reasonably quickly, but without stereotyping or making assumptions.
OK, it's good to talk to you as always, Judy. Thanks very much indeed. What would you like to put on autocue for me, peeps? Anybody? No, let's not do the weather, because we've only got a short time, haven't we? What else have we got? Let's have a quick look. Thanks very much indeed, Judy. Thank you.